How can you justify believing in one impractical supernatural entity and not another, aside from cherry-picking principles?
Yeah. So here's, we live in an interesting time and in an interesting culture where we begin to think, on the one hand, well, why can't all of these religions be the same? You realize that we're the first people in the history of the world, basically, to think that. For years and years and years, the question was not, well, can't all these be the same, or can't all these just kind of work together? It was, which one is actually true? And so the issue here is not cherry-picking principles. The issue here is asking a question of truth. Now, the question is then, how do we get at the truth? So let me give you just a couple of ways to get at the truth. Number one, there's the philosophical way, which is like, why is there something rather than nothing? How do we all get here? That kind of gets you to God, okay? Number two, there's the historical way, which you can go back and you can look at this book written by all these different authors over thousands of years that tells a harmonious story and is amazingly archaeologically, historically correct. You can verify that by archaeological finds as well as by extra-biblical historical sources, and you can go, well, this is a pretty amazing book. It wasn't just like written by one person and claimed to be divinely inspired. It was written by many people and tells an incredibly unified story. But then there is the practical question, which is, well, does this work? When someone asks me, hey, why are you a Christian? Aren't you just cherry-picking principles? Why aren't you this or that or that? I have a one-line quip, but it's really meant to be deeper than just a quip. I say to people, I'm a Christian because I'm not good enough to be anything else. And it's true, and maybe you're in the same boat. If I have to fight my way to heaven, or if I have to pass a test or meet a mark, how do I know where the mark is, and how do I know if I'm going to fall short? Christianity, just sheerly pragmatically, is like the only way that I can have any hope, because I don't have to do it. It's already done for me. And so when you put those three things together, right? The big philosophical questions, the historical questions of this, and then the practical questions of, does this actually offer me hope? Does this actually work? Does it tell the truth about me? I'm really messed up and I need a really big God. When you put those three things together, that's pretty powerful when it comes to being a person of faith in Jesus.
And that goes to what we were talking about in the children's message, right? There are all kinds of religions and theologies that will tell us that if we do certain things, if we accomplish a certain level of whatever it might be, that we can earn the favor of God or transcend to a new place of existence. The reality is, Christianity says, you're broken. You're messed up. And if left to your own devices, you're going to continue to make those mistakes. Does that resonate with you? Because it's absolutely the truth about my life. But the Bible goes on to say that God has provided for us a way, in love for us, He has provided a way for us to move beyond that. And that goes to the other question that you and I have talked about so many different times. That goes to the question of investigating Jesus. And if the story of Jesus, if the truth about Jesus' death and resurrection is historically true, and you can test that truth, then you've got to take what Jesus says as being true. If He's true about dying and rising again, if that's factual, as we believe that it's historically demonstratable and true, then the fact is everything else that He says is true. And He says there's one way to the Father, and that's through Him.